What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. We're going to be diving into the Hogue Mysto. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, we got the Hogue Mysto. This one is a collector series from Hogue. I'm really excited to get into it. What we're going to do today is we're going to jump into size comparisons, profile comparisons, and then we'll jump into my thoughts and impressions. Let's go ahead and kick this off by fixing the microphone. Yeah, let's fix the microphone first. Microphone's a little off here. Okay, let's kick it off with some size comparisons. We're going to bring out the Spyderco Para 3, and you guys know it, the Spyderco Shaman. So you can see this one here, I would constitute it as more of a full-size guy, even though it's a little bit more slender in profile. Let's go ahead and move the Para 3 out of the way, and we'll bring out the Migaron Moyarl. As you can see, the Moyarl is more of a medium-sized EDC, just a little bit smaller than the Hogue. And let's go ahead and bring out another budget comparison. I like the Amorite. Been checking this one out and really enjoying this one a ton. More full-sized and more robust. Let's go ahead and use those full-size knives to do the profile comparison. Here it is against the Amorite first, and you can see just a little bit thinner than the Amorite. The Amorite with those contoured scales, just a little bit thicker overall. And then we'll bring the Shaman back out here as well. And the Shaman just a little bit thicker overall as well. We'll do closed profile because this guy's actually pretty slender in comparison to these knives here, so it doesn't take up a ton of pocket space. Let's go ahead. One last thing that I like to do for you out there that like to see a actual measurement as opposed to comparison knives. Here it is here it is on the ruler, coming in just under 8 inches overall in length, coming in at just over 3.5 inches for blade length, and just under 3.5 inches for cutting edge. And your handle is the difference. All right, let's go ahead and bring out the scale. We'll get the weight on this one, and then we're going to jump into it. Let's see what we got here. Coming in at 3.7, so not bad considering this is a titanium pocket knife. Let's start off with ergos. Very comfortable, guys. I can get all 4 fingers on here, and even though it is slender, they did a nice job making sure that it was chunky, so it's very comfortable in hand. I like that a ton. It is slightly contoured here. I'll show you from this angle. So you got a little bit of slight contouring going on here, nicely radiused around the edges, very well chamfered down, and the pocket clip does stick up just a tiny bit. So you do feel that a little bit, but because you can see here that they ramped up and then down, or flattened it out rather, and they radiused the pocket clip as well, not uncomfortable. You feel that it's there, but it's not hurting. These crossbar lock studs are super aggressive. They literally chew at the tips of my fingers when I use them. So this would be really good, even though it is more slender. It's still going to give you really good grip if you're using gloves, or if you have smaller hands and you have a hard time gripping onto it. You're going to have plenty of bite on the crossbar lock studs, and that goes also for those thumb studs. They are those typical super aggressive thumb studs from Hogue, very sharp on the edges for everything that moves on the studs. Good position here on the pivot, so way down below and tucked in nice and tight here, and that makes for a very satisfying deployment. It came very well tuned from the factory. I have not done anything to this one whatsoever. Having said that, the first one that I did get was very gritty, guys. It was very gritty, and I waited a week fidgeting with it on and off here and there, trying to get it to break in, and I couldn't get the grit to go away. So I reached out to GP Knives to see first, could they just check one? And I can't remember the person's name. I apologize. They responded within a day. They opened one up and they checked it and they were like, gritty, but not to what you're describing. So they asked me to send it back so they could check it. So they got it 2 days later. The following day, that after they got it, I got an email confirming it was there and that it was nowhere near the grit that I was experiencing on mine. So I'm thinking mine was a one-off because it has really broken in nicely. The only thing that I haven't had a chance to do that I did with the first one is break it down to clean it and get rid of some of that oil. I honestly think that oil is what, because there may be residue that's also sticking with the oil. I think that's the only reason that I feel like a tiny, like not even close, not even like 2% of what I was experiencing with the first one. This is very good tolerances. Everything's tight, no up and down. It has a little click side to side, but I haven't, again, had a chance to clean it, play with it, or anything like that. They might have left it a little too loose from the factory. Probably could stand to be tightened up. You see, it's dropping shut, and there is that little bit of play from the factory, again, side to side. So thumb studs, aggressive. Crossbar lock studs, aggressive. The second version I've gotten, I would say 2% as gritty as the first one, but I truly believe that when I clean this one up, it'll go away completely. Let's kick it down to the garage and do a little cutting with this one. All right, we're in the garage and we got the Hogue Mysto here that we're gonna check out. Let's see what this factory edge is like and what the magnet cut is like. I expect, and I have not cut with this at all, this just came in yesterday. I expect Hogue to have a phenomenal factory edge. Anytime I pick up a Hogue, man, they just have really good edges and they're just ready to put in crazy work, guys. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. That is crazy how good that is from the factory. No blemishes whatsoever. Got a couple pieces of cardboard here. I'm gonna go with the taller piece really quick. Let's see how it moves to the cardboard. Yeah, I mean, really. Is anyone surprised? 63.5 HRC on the magnet cut. Factory edge rivals that of Spyderco in my humble opinion. They just really do such an awesome job with their edge. And this is really comfortable. Like seriously, really comfortable, really easy to go through this cardboard. This is one I feel like I could cut with a little while. I feel a little bit of the pocket clip poking, but it's not really hurting or pinching or anything like that. It's really comfortable, guys. I like this. It reminds me a lot of my Maverick as far as how it feels in hand. And, you know, this is not a all-in cut test. It's just to kind of show you how it's moving through the material, kind of give you an idea once it's gone through some cardboard. There's a little bit of goo on there. Once it's gone through a little bit of cardboard, what's it going to do going back through the paper? You know, this magnet cut is being properly heat treated by Hogue. Again, 63.5 HRC is the claimed HRC. And it's a little bit of cardboard, but are we surprised at all at the performance of this? What is catching on? So it looks like there may be a small blemish there. Yeah. So it looks like there's a couple of blemish spots. I don't know if the camera will pick it up for you, but you can see where it's kind of snagging. So let's just check it on the strop real quick. We're gonna do, I think magnet cut at 63, I think is kind of like that 10 strop range. All right, that's 10 strops. Let me just check it on this old piece of paper first, see if it's still hanging up any. Yeah, a little bit. I'm gonna take it just a little bit more and we'll get a clean sheet of paper. All right, we're at 25, guys. It's gone. Woo, this is definitely feeling like some very high, hard heat-treated steel. Just keep that in mind when you go to lay your magnet cut back, when you go to sharpen your magnet cut, because it is really well heat-treated. Do I have anything left to cut on? Yeah, it's definitely biting. I mean, I probably would even say I could take it through a little bit more. Let me see, do I have anything fresh? I hate to keep getting a new sheet of paper. But, I mean, it just... Yeah, it's biting, but honestly, I think I could strop it a little bit more. It's feeling much better. I don't know what I hit that chipped it in that little amount, but it didn't like something in the cardboard. And that's happened a couple of times on these tests. You know, it's still going to cut and perform really well. But if you hit anything in this cardboard, as far as like, I don't know, a little pebble or something that might have been in the glue, the edge is just not going to like it as far as being like super, super fine. So, and it's kind of rolling there a little bit. Let me just grab another sheet of paper. Yeah, I think it's fine. I'd probably even strop this 30. It's definitely out towards the edge here a little bit that it's catching on something. So I might strop it up a little bit more. I think it's really well treated. It feels pretty glassy on the strop, which lets me know it's a good heat treat on it. So let's go ahead, kick it back up to the table. So you can see this one cut fairly well. It is not super, super thin, but it is still fairly thin behind the edge, and it moved through the paper with the factory edge well. It did get hung up a little bit there on the cardboard, but nothing awful. It's dropped right out, and you know, when you're cutting cardboard, you do kind of run into that chance of hitting like a little bit of like a pebble or a little bit of grittiness from whatever they're using to kind of glue that together. I just poked my thumb, so give me a second. I don't know how. I think when I was going across the spine here, I got a little too close to the tip, and I just lightly pricked my finger. So a very acute tip, very pokey. The stone wash on this blade looks really good, guys, and it is a really good performer. This one is coming in at $330, and it is a limited run, and there's a couple of alternative recommendations. You can pick up a tactile knife Maverick, which is coming in at $350 for a titanium version, but I do want to point out a couple of things. You're getting aluminum thud studs here that are coated from Hogue. With the more premium Maverick, you're getting titanium thumb studs, titanium crossbar lock, which I think this crossbar lock, if I remember right, is aluminum standoffs versus a titanium standoff, a stainless steel pocket clip versus a titanium pocket clip. Neither one of these pocket clips are great. Neither one of the studs for the locks or the thumb studs are great on either one of these. If I'm being completely honest, it would be a toss-up for me. Where the miss is that you're getting titanium materials for $350 versus $330 here on the Hogue. I don't mind that it's aluminum, but I would have at least liked to have seen a titanium pocket clip here, guys, for that money. Both are USA made. I will say that the slicing edge is definitely going to go to your Maverick. It is definitely more slicey overall. The swedge does help, but you're getting almost a full flat ground on both. It's very, very close to the top there, and the swedge does help it move the materials. But as far as the thickness, you can see from this angle that your Maverick is much more slicey. The other knife that I'm going to recommend here, if you like crossbar lock knives, you can, for less than the cost of this, believe it or not, if you can find an exclusive, or not an exclusive, but if you can find a dealer exclusive or a Sprint version like mine here, you can get 20 CV on a Benchmade bug out. They run about $170, a little pricey for the FRN or the GRN. I think theirs is GRN plastic, but you can get titanium scales for another $100. You'd be still coming in below the cost of this one for that particular knife. And honestly, with the titanium scales, or even like aluminum scales if Original Goat is making them, it's very nice. Now, I will say this reminds me less of the bug out and more of the Osborne, without the super robust blade where it's kind of built for hard use, or the geometry is hard use, versus this is definitely more slicey. Having said that, it is going to be less expensive than to get yourself a Benchmade off of their custom site. It is coming in less for the Droppoint. It was $330 when I picked it up. Then the Maverick, which is $350. It is coming less than the titanium TRM Atom with the knurled scales. Those were coming in at $375. So it is fairly low for a USA made knife, with magnet cut steel coming in at 63.5 HRC. So I really like that a lot. You do get washers instead of bearings in the pivot. Those washers are just going to be a little bit more durable. If you're doing hard use, it's going to shake off pocket lint, dirt, dust, debris a little bit better than your bearing knives are. But Hogue does a really good job. It's got really good action. The action on the other one was good as well. Again, it was just the grit, which I did clean. I tried to clean and get that lube out of there and tried to break it in, but I couldn't get it to go away, and it was really, really gritty. This one here, it has a little bit of grit on it, but I can tell that's from the oil, and also because the crossbar lock hasn't broken in. This I can definitely tell because there's times where I pull it down and it doesn't feel gritty at all. So the question is, for $330, is it worth it? I would say if you like Hogue and you like magnet cut done at a really good heat treat, this is a really interesting knife, and they also offer it in a Tonto, which you can't really get that, to my knowledge, USA made washer knife at that price point. So I think the Tonto, because it's coated, is running $350, so neck and neck with your tactile Maverick, but it is a Tonto and it's DLC coated. And I like Hogue. They have a great warranty. I've had to use them twice, once for an Omega spring way back in the day on my Deca, and then a second time for Lock Rock on my K320. They got it back within 2 weeks. No questions asked. Super easy, straightforward process. In case you pick one up and you run into the grit, I would send it to them and just check it out. It could have been that there was like maybe a burr on the crossbar lock, or maybe it was on the spine of the knife where it engages for lockup with the knife opened. It could have been that too. And I'm sure GP Knives will send it back to Hogue, and Hogue will fix whatever is wrong and send it back to GP, and they'll sell it probably as new, because they're probably going to replace whatever is wrong with it and make that right to get that out there. But I really like this one. It's a great size. I like the price. It's far less than what you would pay for Chris Reeves, for Koenig Aries, for Rose Oswald. It's just way less, but you're getting titanium on a factory knife, right? You don't have to mod it. You don't have to worry about, if something goes wrong, swapping everything back out, or will they know that you modded it and maybe not honor any type of warranty. So I do like that from that perspective, but I think Hogue has also relaxed their warranty as well. They're not really as uptight about it. They used to not want to, like Spyderco, they didn't want you to take their knives apart, but they realized that we like to maintenance our knives, clean them, take care of them ourselves, maybe upgrade the springs, which this really, I don't really feel like this needs it. I feel because of the location of the thumb studs on here that it's in a really good spot and it fires. I'm debating myself on whether or not I keep this one, because it does really overlap for me with my Maverick. My Maverick was a Sprint. It has the Purple Haze fat carbon scales on there, which I really like. The tactiling on it, it is a little bit different. It's a little bit different because it is a thinner overall profile on it. And the Maverick, I would say, is a little bit more slicey, but that's not to say that the Hogue is not good. And I really thought I was going to probably hang on to the Hogue, not realizing that they kind of compete in the same space for me, because I actually bought a set of Benchmade aluminum red thumb studs because I really just hate the thumb studs on this one, and I was going to swap them out. But I think I'm going to go ahead and just move it along, if I'm honest, because I know what's going to happen. Both of these USA made knives are so good, guys, and I just don't want to keep both of them. I will say, though, the action for sure on the Hogue is better, but the less aggressive bullnose thumb studs and crossbar lock studs on the Maverick, combined with the fact that it has the purple haze fat carbon and the lighter weight of the two, which let's do that real quick, is probably why I would say I'd hang on to the Maverick. Let's just check real quick. I'm pretty sure, yeah, coming in at under 2.8 ounces. And what did I say this was? 3.2? What did I say this was? 3.7. 3.7. I don't know where I got 3.2. So it's definitely lighter. Having said that, though, I don't think it's too far off from the titanium Maverick. This one has the carbon fiber, which is very durable but lightweight, and this has the titanium, and I didn't mention this, but it has the steel liners that are just right here. Like, that is all that it is. Everything else is full titanium on here, which makes it rigid, right? Makes it rigid, makes it strong. It's going to feel very strong when you're using this one, a little bit harder, which you may not feel that with the G10 version of the Maverick. And you can feel just a little bit of flex with the carbon fiber. I don't think you would feel that with the titanium one. And I've had this one for quite a while, and I carry it about once a week or once every 2 weeks, kind of depending on what my loadout is. And it still hasn't broken in, and I would say this has more play in the pivot than the Hogue. The Hogue actually feels much more solid in the pivot, but has the better action. So I might need to take this one apart and polish the washers and see if I can tune it. But I would say this feels better action-wise. I just don't like those thumb studs. And I think I like the purple haze and the thin profile on the Maverick for what this particular knife is going to occupy. But it is very easy to recommend this one. I think some people are turned off by, I don't know that you would call that, is that the Sagaha pattern? Let me grab my mini real quick, my pineapple mini, because I did upgrade, or swap. I swapped. I don't know that it's an upgrade, but I went from the Dapper design, which was a little bit smaller. No, I think Sagaha is more of like the wave, and this looks more swirly, so I guess that's where the Mystic comes from. And there you go. If you have a pineapple mini, I don't know, does that help? That might help somebody, maybe, possibly. But I really like it. I really do like it. I've him and hawed actually for a little while about whether or not I want to move this along, or do I want to move maybe something different along and try to hang on to this one instead to recover the funds. So I'm not 100% sure, but I am curious. What do you think about the Hogue? Do you like the Mystic? Do you hope that they bring the Mystic into their line? So if you look at some of the collector series, the K320 collector series, the Deca collector series, they're saying this is a sprint, but what I'm hoping is maybe they'll bring a Mystic in at G10 with this magnet cut to kind of be a little bit of a bigger option, longer option, but still not quite as slicey as the Deca, so kind of something in between the K320 and the Deca. And perhaps they'll do, this is a limited collector series. I'm hoping maybe they'll do a collector series with this one with the carbon fiber and with the fiber optics on it and such. I think that would be really cool. Let me know what you think about the Mystic though down below. Shout out to everyone out there that likes, comments, subscribes, uses those links, and a special shout out to my members. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate it, guys. I love you. I hope you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.